Hi, I'm Hannah Brown, and welcome to Better Tomorrow. My absolute favorite thing to do is have a heart-to-heart talk with my new friends and my best friends, where we sit down and talk about all the things like relationships and love, faith, and self-care. And of course, the little things as well, like the struggle to figure out what to eat tonight. All in all, I really want to ask, how am I better today than yesterday? And bring artists, entrepreneurs, and friends along on the journey. So join me on the journey, will you? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Better Tomorrow. I thought today we would do a solo episode. I feel like it's time for a little catch up because I have been going hard in this season. But first wanted to just kind of talk about what's been going on. I had my first novel come out, which, I've talked about on here, Mistakes We Never Made, this past month. And I had the absolute best time on book tour. And I know a lot of you guys came out to see me. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that experience first and just say a big thank you. The amount of people that came out to show their support and just share a few minutes with me, I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. I had so many favorite moments. Started off in New York, did New Jersey, then was in San Diego, Los Angeles, and then Missouri. That was so fun. And then ended up here in Nashville and then went back on the road. I just got back a few days ago from going to Rhode Island. So if you came to any of those stops, we had the best time. I think some of my favorite moments were finding out there was multiple people who named their babies Hannah. And that was really cool to find out. I was like, this is amazing. Because first off, just there's not many times that I've gotten to have a set time knowing, okay, I'm going to get to meet the people who have supported me in this journey. I mean, some of you have gone back with me from the beginning. There were some people who I have been following you since you competing in pageants, which is you've really gone back in time. But 5 years it's been since I've been on The Bachelor, and I've obviously seen by the experiences that I've had so much support, but to be able to have those moments with you was really cool. And so to be able to catch up on you were so impacted by this thing that I did that, you wanted to name your child Hannah is pretty big. That was probably one of my favorite things to find out. And it wasn't just one person, it was multiple people, which was really cool, which is not the first, person who's named their child after me. Actually, my PE coach and my 5th grade teacher named their daughter Hannah, and she's turned out to be a very sweet, cute girl. I think she's probably in college now, which is crazy. So it's looking up for all these Hannahs. The first one that is named after me has turned out to be a really great girl, I'm sure all these other sweet babies are. So that was really a funny, cool thing to find out. And also just how far people traveled to come to these tour stops to get their book signed and to have maybe a minute conversation. People drove hours and hours to be able to be at these events, which was so cool. So thank you guys for that. And just also the waiting in the line. I am a person that I have realized I hate waiting in lines for anything. I will do whatever. Maybe that's something I need to check myself of entitlement in some way. And this was not, this was before I had any type of privilege in any way. I just hate waiting in lines. It is my least favorite thing to do. And to have people wait in line for you, I do not take that lightly because there is not many things I would wait in line for. Maybe a ride at Disney World that I've never experienced, I will wait max 2 hours. But some of you guys were waiting 2 hours in line for me. And come on, I don't know if I can give you the same thrill as a Space Mountain, but you guys waited in line for me. I don't know. That just like blows my mind because not a fan. Another thing that I noticed is everyone was so kind and beautiful. And I'm just saying like outward beauty, even though very beautiful people, like just genuinely good people. And that was really great to see, that reflection of like what you put out there, like you get back, and to just have these like really beautiful conversations and to see people like become friends in line. Like some people said like multiple times, like this is kind of like the Taylor Swift book club event. Like people were like actually becoming friends, waiting in these lines and meeting up. And I mean, the friendship bracelets that I got, incredible. I have a whole nice new stack. I'm so pumped. And then it was also really cool to see how a lot of people came with their moms or with their friends, and how me being on The Bachelor, Bachelorette was such a connecting thing for friends and for moms and daughters, or for, husband and wives, boyfriend, girlfriends. Like that is really cool to say that you've been a part of. Because sometimes, I've gone through my ups and downs about my relationship with Bachelor Nation and that being my start. But all in all, this book tour has just made me really proud of where I've came from and the way that I've been able to impact people's lives. And whether that is through The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or even Special Forces. There were so many people out there that were Special Forces fans, and that made me so excited. There were also a lot of people that have been fans of Better Tomorrow, and like hearing y'all say you listen weekly or talking about your favorite episodes that really impacted you, and like using your time to talk about this podcast was really, really cool. Because I started this podcast a year ago and have not had that opportunity to meet a lot of people other than if you've been in Nashville and like we've seen each other in the grocery store, that I've had people, say that they listen to the podcast. But to be able to have that many people just share what has made them have a connection with me and why you guys support me. I mean, obviously I could go on and on about it, but just thank you. It means so much. And because of people who have come out, we had those conversations, but also the people who, I didn't come to your area, but you still supported me and bought books and have DM'd me and messaged me. Mistakes We Never Made became a New York Times bestseller, which was obviously a goal of mine. I mean, I think I've talked about this before. Like I have like a big vision board in my office, and I took one of my very first, like the advanced copies of Mistakes We Never Made, the cover, and cut it up and put it on there, and then like printed out a New York Times bestseller like emblem and stuck it on there, and like looked at it every day. And I was like, this is a huge goal of mine and something that I want to happen, because as much as we try to say it doesn't matter, it kind of does. It does matter. And it's not just the title, but what that represents, that people like really have supported me as, wherever you've followed me, whether it's the podcast or from Bachelor, heck, pageant times, like you've continued to grow with me and invest in, my passions and where I'm going. And I really love writing, and I love romance and being in this space. And it was just really cool to see how many people just like have loved the book. And now a lot of people have now read it, and just seeing the positive response. Seriously, if you read the book, please DM me, tell me your thoughts, because those DMs are my favorite. To see you guys reading it and loving it and wanting more and asking about book 2, which I'm working on now. It's been the best time ever. It's also been a really tiring time. I went straight from that tour and then came back And I don't know why I've bitten off more than I can chew. I don't know. I feel like I've just been in a sprint in life right now because I came back, then was like hosting people at our house, which I love being a host, but I always take it a step above and beyond. Like, I need everything to be beautiful. I want fresh flowers in your room. I want to have like some type of baked goods ready for people. And then I planned a whole birthday party and like got rentals, like had a rental table and the tablecloth and the setup and did the whole thing. And that was a lot. And then literally like 2 days later was back on the road, and then went back to New York and Newport. We stayed in Newport, Rhode Island, like an extra day after the book tour, which was so fun. For Bachelor fans, it was at Ashley and Jared's coffee shop they have in Rhode Island. And it was so fun to be able to hang out with them. I actually got to go to Ashley's baby shower for her second baby the next day. So it was so great to have that. But we got to have a little time in Newport and New York, went and saw some shows, and then just tried to like hit some of the Newport mansions. And that was so fun. And I love to travel, but I feel like I just hit it too hard, and I'm feeling the repercussions of that right now. When I got home this weekend, I was in rare form of my anxiety. I feel like I've had my anxiety, how do I say, like I've had it under control. Like I've been really in a good place, which has been awesome. But it hit me like a ton of bricks this past week of like, oh my gosh, I am really good at focusing in on one thing, which has been this book tour. And, you know, I really hope everyone had like a positive experience that was there, because my whole goal was for everyone to have, whether that was 5 minutes, a minute, 30 seconds with me, to feel like they were valued. And I can put everything into that, but then everything else that I do that has gotten me to this place of being in a good mental space goes out the window. I'm eating absolute shit. I'm not moving my body at all. I am just sleeping and then putting on a happy face and going out and meeting you guys. And the happy face people would be like, oh my gosh, is that real? And I'm like, no, it genuinely is. Like, this is the only thing that is fueling me, because when I stop, I'm down for the count. And all I'm doing is watching like Shrek and falling asleep halfway in it. And I tried to watch Shrek multiple times this past week. Couldn't get through it, which is saying something, because I do not fall asleep in movies. So we are exhausted. And I've just been in a big like reflection because of all that, of how I can find the balance a little bit better moving forward in my life. And I think that's for everyone. You know, with summer coming up, travel is a big topic. Travel in the summer just feels like something that if you have the opportunity to do, you should do, which I'm all for it. Look, your girl loves to travel. I want to go all the places. And I love having new experiences, being immersed in different cultures. But while I love travel right now, I do not feel my best. And I think sometimes when we travel, we can lose connection to the things that keep us grounded. I would love to know how people, if you have any tips for that, let me know. Because what I'm needing so much right now is connection to myself, time to myself. Like, I haven't, which I don't think it sounds vain, but like, I need to like have some self-care days, as in I need to get these grays covered up in my hair. And also, why am I 29 and gray? I don't understand. Why is this my life? Anyway, like, I haven't had a proper pedicure in 6 months. Like, I need to do some self-care things, which I talked about on my Instagram the other day. And it really annoyed me, which I know there's like 4 people that said this, but are like, oh my gosh, like, it seems like your life is so hard. All these things are very vain things to be saying that you need to get done. Because I was talking about my to-do list, because I was trying to schedule some things for myself. But I'm like, Karen, yes, if that was what I did every week, or that was my to-do list every day, I could kind of see. But it was just like, I have put off a lot of those things for myself for a while. I mean, I've been walking around with a headache and blurry vision for 2 weeks. I'm slightly concerned because I really think it's the tension that I have built up in my neck right now that, like, I should probably get some type of physical therapy massage going for that. So I don't know how to balance that with like time for myself, or also for me, which is so important, like connection with God. Like, that has been something that is so special to me, and it's grounded, I think, not just me, but my relationship with Adam. Adam has been going on his journey with that, and just, it's been such a connecting thing for us, and also just for my spirit and soul. And when I'm going like I am, like, the first things to go are like the quiet time that are so important for me in the morning. And today I was really proud of myself because I journaled for the first time in a while. But it's just been taking account of that. And then also, while being able to have time with my dog, with my friends, with Adam, even though he was with me on this last tour leg, we weren't really together. Like, I tried so much to like book all those things, like I said, like going to the dinners and going to the musicals and doing the mansion so that we were doing something together, but we were just exhausted. Like, it's like, we are trying for connection time, but we're actually both would probably rather just be asleep in bed. And that's the reality of things, because I'm sure it looked like we did have a great time, but when you are running on fumes, it makes it really hard to have those moments with yourself, with other people, with your spouse, that truly make you feel like, I don't know, like just grounded and together. So that is something that, it's just food for thought, because I think it can be so easy. I don't know if your algorithm's like mine, but every, other post is somebody on some lavish trip to Europe. And then I'm like, why am I not in Europe right now? I don't know. I should be in Europe. I need to plan a trip to Europe. I'm texting all my friends being like, I need a trip. And it's like, no, you don't. You need a routine. So I've been really thinking about doing like some type of like summer bucket list, but of like really pure fun things that I can do at home. Because that's where the real connection happens, not just running around like a crazy person. I'm saying all this, which is really funny, and I go to the beach tomorrow. But this beach trip is truly like doing nothing with my family in Gulf Shores, Alabama. So I think this does count as a reset. But after that, I'm really excited to be at home. And, I am looking forward to travel in the near future. I need to travel for wedding stuff coming up, which I have it's so funny. I've had so many conversations with people the past few weeks. I'm like, did I talk about that on the podcast, or did I just talk about that with Jane from, Kansas City, Missouri? I don't remember, but I do need to travel for finally booking some type of wedding venue. We have been talking about doing international, but we need to go to the ideas that we have for a place to get married and actually look at some locations, which I was excited about, and I still am, but I'm just tired. So there will be travel in the near future, but really just learning the importance of balance and how good it can be to be home and having a routine. So thankful for it. What my next goal is to be able to have those habits in my routine that have helped me get to a good place and be able to still hold on to those even when I'm in a sprint season of life. I talked to my therapist while I was gone, and I know maybe some of you can't relate to a book tour, but I think a lot of people can relate to having seasons of life where you feel like you can barely catch your breath. And that doesn't mean it's a bad season. Heck, that could even be wedding planning for some people right now, where it's you're going to your job and doing that 9 to 5, and then you still have to this whole second job of planning a wedding, or getting your kids put into all these different programs. You're in that season of just mom, being a full-time mom, and it can feel like a full-on sprint. And what my therapist was saying is it's okay to have seasons of sprints where you are fully focused on getting to that finish line and you see it, but you can't live a life in a sprint. You will always get burnt out. You can't sprint a marathon. Life is a marathon that we've got to figure out what our best pace is. And I think I have really had a hard time finding my pace, but that is something that I am really focused on in this next season. I have my first session of therapy that I've had in a hot minute. I mean, my last therapy session was kind of one with you guys, having Jordan on the podcast last week. I feel like that was a life-changing podcast for a lot of people. It's been so cool to already see how people have resonated with that. I was a little stingy with wanting to share her with you guys because I was so immersed in it and it didn't feel safe. But now having the tools that I've had and just really being able to honestly live out and see how, what she does differently has changed my life and helped me. I was excited to now be able to share that with you guys. So that was really cool. I hope you guys loved that one. But that was my last time meeting with her. And before that, we hadn't met in a hot minute just because of this season of life. But I'm so excited to get back into that therapy because we talked about in last session, that's hilarious. The last episode, A Better Tomorrow with her, it's a very immersive experience and it's a lot of work. She does not require, but for it to work the way it's supposed to and change my life the way that I want it to, there's a lot of homework that goes into it. It's a lot of trainings and reading different books and listening to different podcasts, and I haven't been doing my best at the homework. I would say I've not been the best student. So I'm pumped to go back and really get into it today. I feel like this upcoming season and me trying to shuffle through what has importance in my life and cutting things out can weirdly feel lazy. I feel like I'm being lazy Right. It's so bizarre and kind of like countercultural, like trying to like take account of your life and deciding, all right, I'm going to say no to that. I'm going to take more of this, but really get focused in on what it is I want to do. And when you focus in on what you want to do, you have to make room for that big yes with having a lot of no's in your life and saying no to a lot of cool opportunities, great opportunities, things that have served your life in a season, but does it really serve now? And that can feel really hard to do. When I look at other people and start, comparing our lives can like really suck the joy out of our life too. But of course we all do it. I'll look around at other people who are kind of in my similar vein. It feels like they're always doing another thing. And I guess you could probably say that for me, outside looking in, it's like, what is she doing next? But I don't think that that's kind of like living in a sprint or at a pace that I guess for me, I just can't. The only way to really like become more of who you're supposed to be and to really, I feel like find that peace in life is you have to find some moments of stillness. And, that is what I truly want. And a lot of the work that I know I've talked about this, but that I've been doing in therapy is to just be more rooted in who I am, what I want to do in this world, and learning how to make choices of where to best use my energy. And this has been a big topic in my own therapy and in my own like private life that I've been really kind of going back and forth on, taking account of everything that I'm doing right now and juggling and realizing like, okay, I need to sort some things out. All in all, I'm just ready for a season of rest, and I am making decisions and prioritizing things to make sure that I allow myself to have that. Because really in the rest and the stillness is where your greatest ideas come from. Just you can really do the best goal setting, and that's when you really have like some of the best moments of life, being able to connect and be with the people that mean the most to you. So I am looking forward to making that a priority this summer and really this year, which also, speaking of this year, I cannot believe that I have been doing this podcast, Better Tomorrow, been a podcaster for a year. I was so nervous to do this, even though I'd wanted to do it for so long. And we have had some really great guests. And if you haven't listened to a few of my favorites, I thought it'd be just a nice reflection time to talk about some of my favorite episodes and guests that I've had during this year. Well, my favorites honestly have been with Adam. I think first of all, because he is one of my favorite people, and I feel like it's a cool way for you guys to kind of see an inside look at our relationship. And we've been very vulnerable on this podcast. Sometimes I've had a hard time figuring out how much is too much, where to stop, what's for me. Because like I've said quite a bit, this has been such a instrumental year of my life, and I've done a lot of hard work on just kind of like opening up all the pieces of my life and kind of doing my own soul searching in a way. Because even though I'm been in a much better place, like I've finally been in a place to be able to do that. Like when you are, and if you're in this part of your life, I'm so proud of you for like picking Better Tomorrow to listen to or doing some small things to help you feel better. But when you are like in a really not your best state, and I think for me was really struggling with my depression, anxiety, like at all-time high. It is so hard to be able in that time to do all the work that kind of has to be done when you're in like, you have to be in a more stable state. And I've finally gotten in a little bit more stable state. And so then I'm having to do some of like this really hard work. Before when I mean, gosh, you're probably like, gosh, have you just always been in like a bad season? I'm like, no, just the past like 3 years have been pretty tough. And I would say those first 2 was really just trying to survive. And now I'm at the place where I'm like stable enough to really thrive. But that takes like this, you go into this other gear of being able to do a lot of the hard work. But in all that, I've been trying to balance, how much of it to share when we're really like going through it, or trying to figure out how to navigate our relationship and the ups and downs of that. But I feel like this podcast has been the place where we've been the most open. So a lot of the conversations with Adam have been my favorite. I think one of our first ones that we did was just why we moved here to Nashville, which we've also been here for almost over a year. And it's so funny to think about us making the move here. It was very like, it was kind of wild. It was one of those things that is not a typical way that I make decisions. It was a very quick decision. We moved in like a month, and we kind of talk about why we decided to move. And thinking back on that, it's like a lot of that was so true. And we have been able to really make beautiful community here. And I'm really glad that we made that decision, even though I miss the beach so much. But that would be a great episode to kind of like really, I don't know, see the makings of this like new chapter of life that I've been on. I feel like moving to Nashville and starting this podcast, this was really the start of so much growth for me. And that's just an episode that makes me feel like that is like one of the things I can like pinpoint of like, okay, this was a time in my life where there was like the beginning of a really incredible time. Another episode that I love with Adam is obviously when we talk about our engagement story. That is one of the episodes that people talk to me the most about when I see them out in public, of being like one that they really connected with, especially women who are engaged in that same season of life, because it's a very vulnerable conversation of, pictures can make something look like it was just perfect and magical, and that wasn't fully the case. And so we talk about that. And although I'm so excited for what the future holds, and I mean, this ring is like so beautiful. And it was so funny. On the tour, people would come up and be like, "Oh my gosh, that ring is really stunning." Like, I think maybe it's prettier in person. I don't know. That's what a lot of people were saying. But like everything, there was so much goodness, and he was so sweet and kind. But there was also a lot that kind of happened right before the full like engagement day that I think really was connecting for people and made people feel less alone for being like a little anxious and scared for, a big commitment jump like an engagement is. And so that one was really fun to be able to talk with you guys about and share. I don't know if it was fun, but I think it was helpful for a lot of people. Yeah, I really enjoyed just podcasting with Adam in general. I think all the stuff that we've been doing, working on our relationship, is, I don't want to say it's polarizing, but it's not really talked about. Like doing couples therapy and learning how to change the way that we communicate is something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, and that we've been able to do that. Although sometimes it's been hard, or I've like worried about it, I really have been able to see how people have connected with that. And that's something that I want to, I don't know, I'm thinking about diving into that even more, sometime in the future. I don't know how and in what way, but I think there's a lot of misinformation that is, unfortunately hurting a lot of relationships out there of what a relationship is supposed to be like, what love is supposed to be like. And it can be really easy to get caught up in that. And so having conversations about, big life decisions that we've made together, our engagement story, going to therapy, like it's been so cool to see how that has resonated with you guys. And I think especially coming from my background of being on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and, a lot of people that watch that love a love story. Even now, like being in an author in this romance genre, like we're all looking for our beautiful love story, but what actually is a beautiful love story? And I loved being able to have him on, but also it made me realize that maybe it's something that I want to continue to do in some capacity, in some way down the line. We're working on that in therapy of how we could work together in some way. And if we want to continue to spread what we've learned and share that with other people in some way. So I feel like this podcast has been our first way to do that and has been really fun. I loved my conversation with Dr. Nicole LaPera because I've been a fan of hers for years. She's the holistic psychologist on Instagram, and the amount of times that her posts have like come up at the right time for me and just helped me on this journey of healing and growth. And I know a lot of people that listen to Better Tomorrow, that's kind of the journey that you're on too. So she was somebody that I was so pumped to have because I've been really going into a deep dive into working with, my inner child and healing my trauma. And so she just has so much knowledge for how to kind of, not how to do that, but how to really take the first steps and to be patient with yourself and compassionate, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to work through your own trauma. So that one was just like personally one of my favorites because I learned so much. Like that is when I say that I would, this podcast has been just as helpful for me as it is to you guys. Like that type of conversation was one that I've been able to take with me and, has been, just awesome. I'm always going to love the episodes of people that I just really am inspired by. I loved my episode with Tim Story. He is such a wonderful person, incredible life coach. And I just feel like everything that he said was like a nugget that you could write down. And that was one of my favorite things. I just felt like it was so easy to talk to him. And check that one out if you need just a mood booster or just something to make you feel motivated and excited for the change that you have the opportunity to have in life. Like Tim Story is your guy to listen to. But also I enjoy like the fun ones. Like the one with Matt and Rachel was so fun because they are friends, and to be able to talk about all that they've done with, we kind of come from the same background, me and Matt, and to be able to see how he's made his path forward. And I loved how he talked about like, he's just like doing things that are fun for him and have been able to take this opportunity and make a career out of that. And I love that. I love him and Rachel's story and how they travel together and connect with each other through their love of food and having new experiences. I think that's so awesome and something that I admire about them. And overall, just like a fun episode. I mean, I think we talk about farts for the first few minutes of the episode. So, it's all about balance here at Better Tomorrow. We'll have conversations about faith with Kate Bowler, which love that episode. And then we'll also talk about farts. So faith and farts here. Overall, this past year has just been such a blessing. And I am so thankful for every conversation that I've had. But it's been nice to just take a little moment to reflect on all the wonderful people that I've had on this podcast and the conversations that have been life-giving in some way, whether that's through laughs or through being able to learn something new about ourselves, challenge ourselves. So yeah, it has been a really awesome year of great conversation. And so I've been doing a lot of back and forth about some of the things that I've taken on, and it's pretty bittersweet to say, but I have decided that this will be my last episode of Better Tomorrow. At least for the near future, I've decided that in this time of my life that this needs to be kind of put on the back burner for now. I wanted to do a podcast for so long. It was one of the things that I talked about probably like 2 or 3 years ago wanting to do. And last year, I finally got this up and running, and it has been so great. And like I said, like really being able to talk to some of you in person about how you live better tomorrow even made this decision even more bittersweet, because I had finally decided, okay, I think I'm going to put this on a pause. And then getting to hear how much you guys have enjoyed it and it's meant so much to you made it really hard, because I knew this was coming. But it has truly been such a great experience for me. I love talking to new people, and I've had conversations that have truly impacted my life, and I hope have impacted yours as well. I have felt my confidence grown. Wait, let me try that again. Have I found my confidence grown? That makes no sense. My confidence has grown so much in this. Jordan would say, my therapist, each week that I did Better Tomorrow was full exposure therapy for me, because I had to get uncomfortable every time I got on this mic. One of my big things that I'm really excited to work on, that I'll say when I'm in therapy or talking to somebody, is I feel like I don't have anything to say, which is obviously I'm proving to myself every time I get on this mic that I do. But it's some limiting belief that I've conjured up in my head. And so I had to work through that this past year every week of thinking, oh my gosh, I have nothing to say. I don't make sense when I talk. It's a big one that I say. And then having to decide, okay, I have, 30 minutes, an hour to have to talk continually. That has been tough. So while there's been so many highlights, oh my gosh, being able to have fun conversations with people from Bachelor Nation, or people that, just you guys are really intrigued with, to having amazing therapists or people who have gone through really difficult times and have really been super inspiring. All those conversations have been so impactful for me, and I've loved it. And it's pushed me in some way. That has been awesome, but it's also a hard job. I thought, oh my gosh, podcasting will be so fun. It'll just be so fun. No, it's so fun. It takes a lot of work. And I'm just so thankful for the team that has helped me with all this. It is not a one-man band, that is for sure. But prepping every week for a podcast, figuring out who I'm going to have on, and then just juggling that, because I can be, especially when I have guests on. Right now, I feel like I'm kind of just rambling, but when I have guests on, I really want to make sure I'm asking all the right questions, and it could take me forever to prep for it. It was just, it has been like truly a big job, and I have so much respect for the podcasting world. And I'm so grateful that I've been in it. I think what kind of brought me to this conclusion the most was blame it on Jordan, my therapist. But she's been really challenging me to figure out who I am and what I want to stand for. And while I think Better Tomorrow has a clear voice of, I want this to be, something that is an additive part of your day and something that inspires you, I think for me personally, what I have got to uncover is what is it that I really want to put my stick in the stand. What is it that I want to, put my stick in the sand for? This is the hill that I want to stand on, and to use this big platform that I now have to talk about. And sometimes I feel like I've got it, and sometimes I don't. So I really just want to explore that more of what I really want to talk about. And I think it's getting clearer and clearer every day. Like I said, who knows? Maybe in a few months, I'm like, all right, I'm back at it, and I know I want to talk about relationships or faith. But these are things that I think you kind of have, for me, I feel like I need to explore on my own for a while and get really clear of the message that I want to have. And that's changed in the last year from when I decided I wanted to do Better Tomorrow. I feel like I've just progressively continued to grow and kind of chip away at who actually is Hannah. But I need to create more space to be able to do that. And with working on book 2 right now, which like I've said, I do feel like that is something that I really do love to do, and you guys have supported me on. I've got to create other space to be able to get clearer on the messages of not only for you guys, but for myself. It's a really scary thing to say, which I know I've talked about this before, of not fully knowing who I am, and maybe allowing subconsciously or not other people to decide who I am, and really wanting to do the hard work to take that back. And I can use a lot of things in my life as distractions or excuses to not do that. And I don't want to do that anymore. I think this is going to continue to be a really expansive time in my life. And I'm so excited to continue to share that with you through my socials. I want to get a little bit clearer on that too. That doesn't mean I'm fully going away on that. But it's a big decision, and something that this decision didn't come lightly, or there was a lot of talks about it, but I feel really at peace with it. And I didn't feel at peace with it for a while, but I really do now, once I finally made the decision of okay, I'm going to take a pause on this and focus on, I don't know, maybe not just myself, but planning a wedding. I'd love to do that at some point. I'd love to figure that out, but just making more space for other things in my life that I really value. But I value you guys so much, and genuinely am so thankful for the time that you've spent with me in your ear as you've gone on your walks, as you've gone to work, just those precious moments of your day where you could literally do anything else, listen to anyone else, that you decided to spend time with me. Thank you so much. And I promise to continue to work every day to become a little bit better than I was yesterday and show up for myself and my people, you people that are my people. That sounded so dumb. I don't know. But I promise to just continue to show up more authentically for myself, for, my friends and family, and for you guys. And I'm excited in what ways I'm going to expand on that. Maybe it's the podcast again in the near future. Maybe it's in other ways. I know it will continue to be in my books for right now. But you guys mean the world. Thank you so much for listening to Better Tomorrow and continuing to follow me in what's next. Our show is recorded, engineered, and edited by the Legos creative team. Remember to follow Better Tomorrow wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss the next episode. And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps and shows your support. You can follow me on socials at Hannah Brown, and you can stay updated on all things Better Tomorrow on our Instagram at Better Tomorrow and our TikTok Better Tomorrow podcast.